You're watching Gator Bytes, your weekly podcast on the Florida Gators, presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. Here are your hosts, Ryan the Hacker Green and former Gators basketball star, Patric Young.
XL.com podcast network, also being simulcast on the Florida Gator 1010XL Facebook page. Today's Gator podcast is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. For the highest quality care, you can rely on Southeast Orthopedic Specialist for any orthopedic injury or concern. Be sure to log on to their website, se-ortho.com. That is Patric Young, former Florida Gator, big man, the 2014 SEC Defensive Player of the Year. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green, and Pat, we're the guinea pigs in the brand new 1010XL podcast studio.
I'm excited, man. This is cool. I was a little confused at first when we said the podcast room, and it looks great. Great setup.
Yeah, Trent did a great job. Jacob, Thomas, everybody that was involved in getting all this going. Obviously, our boss man, Steve Griffin. So we certainly are looking forward to bringing you not only Gator Bytes, but every podcast out of this brand new 1010XL podcast studio. All right, the Florida Gators this past weekend, a 76-62 win over South Carolina. I've heard the term business-like victory. It wasn't a thing of beauty necessarily.
It wasn't, no.
But at the end of the day, you get a 14-point win. It's hard to be upset about that.
And first, I want to give credit to Lamont Paris with South Carolina. You know, to get a team that is not good, to come into Gainesville after getting beat by 47 points, to compete the way they did, you know, South Carolina has nothing to lose. They know they're probably not going to win that game. It's obviously not the mindset you want your team to have, because then that's just laying down. But they didn't. They came in there. They fought. They don't have the physicality to match Florida nor the guard. Teams just don't have enough talent. And I think human nature side, I think that kind of affected Florida a little bit. You know, that was like, you know, Frangie said it was like their B game. They didn't bring their A game, and I think that's fair. Florida's B game is enough, not enough for them to make it to a Final Four, but you know, you're not looking. There's plenty of things that Coach Golden is going to look at that game and say, guys, this is good enough to win the SEC. This isn't good enough to be a Final Four team. So, you know, they have opportunity. They have 5 games coming up here. They have a 2-game lead in first place. Ole Miss is not having a good season, so that's an opportunity. Then Mississippi State not having a great year either. The only teams I guess you worry about are Arkansas and Kentucky to close out the season, but the Gators, they really control their fate right now.
I want to talk about Arkansas in a moment. They might have played the game of the year against Alabama. That was a crazy game. As far as the win over South Carolina, again, they didn't play great. They won the game by double digits. Again, it's hard to complain about that. You look at the backcourt, again, Xavier Lee looks like a completely different player than he was a month ago. Boogie Flan is struggling from the outside. There's no doubt about that. Struggling might be an understatement, but he's doing a lot of the other stuff, Pat. He's slashing, he's passing, and he really enjoys playing defense. Even though the outside shot's not there for Boogie, if he continues doing what he's doing, I think he's going to be okay.
Well, first, I do want to give the statistic to show the struggles for Boogie Flan from the three-point line. From the last 18 games, 7 of 55.
Ooh, geez.
7 of 55.
That might be my numbers.
Dude, that might. Yeah, I think I could do that. I think I could do. You know, I look at Xavier Lee, I look at Boogie right now. I think they've done a fantastic job of adjusting, of making adaptations to what they do well. And Boogie Flan, part of what made him such a desirable target was that how well he plays defense. Yeah, he gambles sometimes, but he doesn't pick up a lot of dumb fouls. He forces a lot of steals. He had a 6-steal game earlier this season. He's not hurting the team to take away from their ability to be effective, me and Final Four-esque. And, you know, Xavier Lee, I did some clips of him at SEC Network this week because I wanted to highlight, okay, yes, you can obviously see Xavier Lee is not Walter Clayton Jr., Elijah Martin, or Will Richard. But here are the things that he does that are very effective. They're the home run. He hits a lot of singles, but he has home run plays too. He'll force a steal on defense. He'll turn that into an easy basket. And the reason that's so, like, it is deflating for the other team. It's getting a stop. It's getting other team's head. And for a team like the Gators that's struggling to shoot from the three-point line, the more easy baskets you can get, the better. And especially when it's going to be for the guards. So Xavier Lee had 2 games where he got Boogie Flan, some wide open layups, and just hoping those continue to happen.
If you have a question for Patric Young or myself, feel free to shoot us a comment in the Twitter or the Facebook or the YouTube comment section.
All the things.
Yeah, we'll certainly get that on here on the Gator Bytes podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. You were one of the best big men to play at Florida in recent memory. You were a rebounding machine. So when you see Ruben Chinyelu get another 15-plus rebound performance, again, there's something about desire. There's something about heart to go get that basketball. And Chinyelu does it seemingly every single game.
He makes me not think I was a good. I don't think I was a good rebounder. You look at Ruben Chinyelu. I mean, the kid is on another level, and the comparisons for him and Oscar Tshiebwe are those are right on line. Obviously, he doesn't score it as well as Oscar Tshiebwe did, and he should actually be tied with the all-time record for double-doubles, but against Georgia, he only had 7 points to go with his 17 rebounds. But as of right now, Ruben Chinyelu has 113 offensive rebounds, one behind the single-season record. Gonna destroy that. Dwayne Davis at 114. He's gonna absolutely obliterate that. As you said, double-double in the first half, 13 points and 15 rebounds, ridiculous. Moves to the single-season top 10 rebounding in total program history. The only players on that list the last 50 years are just some guy named Al Horford and Joakim Noah.
Two pretty good players.
Just those 2 guys on the list. Desire, man, he has great hands. He has great lower body strength, and he just takes up space, man. He just, he's not a guy that ever seems to be overwhelmed by another big. I would love to see the matchups with Arizona, maybe with Duke again, those teams that have front courts that are recognizable. I would love to see how he'd match up in those games now.
It's one thing to improve your scoring, and he's done that, but he wasn't the rebounder or the defensive player last year that he is this year. It's an all-around change for Chinyelu. That's coaching. That's obviously Chinyelu as well. But, just talk about how a guy can get so much better from one year to the next. It's night and day for Ruben right now.
Man, I think you look at last year, and I think the best game he had last season was against Wichita State.
Yeah.
In that little Orlando tournament, a game where he just dominated. I don't think he missed a shot. And, you don't expect a player like that or a person after having a game like that at that time where he was in his career, he's not going to replicate that. You're not going to go 8 for 8 with 17 rebounds. But you just knew it gave you a glimpse like, oh my gosh, this guy, he's got a chance if he can put it together. His fluidity has gotten so much better. I want to give, obviously, Todd Golden the credit, but Carlin Hartman. Todd Golden had so much turnaround, lost 2 coaches, was able to keep Carlin Hartman, and so grateful that he was because that's the guy that's working on the bigs. Maybe Carlin Hartman can figure something out with Alex Condon, his 3-point shot.
Yeah.
Maybe we need Condon to work with a different coach for that aspect. I don't know, man. Could you imagine if Condon was shooting 30%?
Oh, man. Well, it's obvious.
That's it. That's what we're asking. Just 30% from the 3-point line.
It's obvious that's what the NBA folks told him to work on, and it hasn't materialized. So that'll be a conversation for, a month or 2 from now as far as Condon's future. And I do feel bad for him. But if he keeps playing the defense the way he's playing and he keeps showing the hustle the way he's playing, I'm okay with him jacking up 2 or 3 threes a game.
Man, I just try to put myself in his shoes, man. Like the NBA is right there. But, what's your reasoning for going? You have an opportunity to go down as one of the greatest college basketball players in Florida basketball history. Maybe a chance to come back next year and be a player of the year, not just the conference, but of the entire country. Develop that shot. And I don't know how much he's making this year, but with the way NIL's going, double it. Yeah. just double that money. But yeah, going back to those guys, their development, they really put in the work. And what I look for at Ruben Chinyelu, his conditioning, his ability, because like if you're a big guy, you work so much in games without getting the basketball. So sometimes you're just like, oh man, like I'm doing all this and not getting the ball. Ruben doesn't care. Like his conditioning, he's going 1,000% on both sides when he's in the game. Like I sometimes I don't get mad when coach takes him out. I'm just like, man, that dude he can give you some more. Let him keep padding the stats because no one can stop him. But the team's in a really good place. I like to see Condon take care of the ball a little bit more.
Turnovers are an
7
issue.
turnovers and 6 turnovers.
Yeah.
Coach Golden said I was too critical of him, and I'm like, I love Alex Condon. He can't hurt. Like it's going to be heartbreaking to go and make a run, and his stat line is going to be 12 points, 7 rebounds, 8 turnovers. Like that'd be heartbreaking to see, and it's very possible.
Let me ask you this. Again, Patric Young, the hacker Ryan Green, the Gator Bytes podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Again, for the highest quality care, you can visit our friends at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. se-ortho.com is their website, and we certainly appreciate their continued support for years and years on the Gator Bytes podcast here on the 1010XL podcast network. Coach of the year in the Southeastern Conference. It always seems to go to teams that surprise. It always seems to go to teams that come out of nowhere. This Florida Gator basketball team was 5-4 with some gut-wrenching losses. And then even throw in the Missouri loss. They're 9-5 and they're 0-1 in the SEC. And at that point, I'm thinking, all right, if they make it to the Sweet 16, that's going to be an overwhelming success. All they've done since that Missouri game is win 11 out of 12, and now they find themselves darn near in the top 10 in America. There's been some great coaching performances in the SEC this year. Has there been a better one than what Todd Golden has done?
Oh, man. I'm trying to look here. You typically don't go looking past the top 5 in the country, in the conference, and I will expand it to go to 6, just because Texas A&M, at one point you would have had them in the conversation. They were 7-1,
right? And you could argue, Rick Barnes, then Nate Oates, Calipari are the ones right behind Golden.
Yeah, and I want to be nice. I want to be nice. Nate Oates is not getting my vote.
Is that the Charles?
He's not getting my vote for Coach of the Year. And obviously that matchup that Alabama and Arkansas just had, they're tied at 9-4, Alabama and Arkansas. But I guess you would look at and Vanderbilt just lost to Missouri. They were on a great run to start the season. The clear favorite has to be Florida. I mean, it usually is not always going to be the team that has the best record, but they have the best record. They have a fantastic storyline. From the beginning of the season, it's been all about the front court and their dominance. I mean, them beating Kentucky 100-76 or whatever the score was, and having 72 points in the paint. The dominance of this team, 12-1 at home, best quad. Like there's no one even close that I can make an argument for. Can't make an argument for Alabama. Can't make the argument for Arkansas with 4 losses. Tennessee has been okay. They win the game they're supposed to win, but they're not shocking you. Florida took care of business against Tennessee easily this year. So it's a clear favorite right now that Todd Golden, he must be hoisting that trophy.
I think he's done an amazing job. Now, again, he's the defending national champion head coach. People thought Florida was going to be really good coming into the year, but from 9-5 and 0-1 in the SEC to 20-6 and 11-2 in the SEC. That's a heck of a job.
6-game winning streak right now.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw this. I'm assuming you probably did, because a lot of your colleagues probably were involved. You see the mock NCAA tournament field that they put together yesterday?
No, I didn't.
So Joe Lunardi, a bunch of guys from ESPN, a bunch of national college basketball writers, and I believe some of the committee that's going to do Selection Sunday, they got together yesterday. And if yesterday was Selection Sunday, they kind of put out what the field would look like. They had Florida number 10 as the number 10 overall team, which would make them a 3 seed. And they were going to Tampa, I believe, to play Portland State or whatever. But on that premise, is Florida a 3 right now, in your opinion? Or should they be a 2?
Right now, they're a 3. I think they take care of business and win out the league. Joe Lunardi made it clear the top, the 5, probably the highest they can go is a 2 seed. If they probably the TCU, a few of those losses, you don't count like UConn, Duke, Arizona, those against them. Obviously, those would have helped to push them higher. All those teams that turned out to be really, really darn good.
The Auburn loss doesn't look great,
dude.
Right
what
now.
In the world?
Yeah,
like I look at that game, and
Auburn
I'm just
like the Lakers against Florida, and then they've come drastically back.
I feel so bad. I feel bad for Stephen Pearl. I really do, because he seems like such an awesome guy. He does seem like a good. I just think it's tough. His style is completely different from his dad's. But somehow he was able to go and come into Gainesville and beat his best friend, beat Ty Golden. But yeah, I'm looking here right now. We got Florida at a 3. Yeah, Portland State, Ohio State. I didn't realize Ohio State was good enough to make it in the tournament. When's the last time they've been good in basketball?
Well, the interesting thing about the mock tournament yesterday was if you look at Florida, they're the 3 seed in the South. They would potentially play Texas Tech in the round of 32, who obviously they saw in the Elite 8, and they just lost Toppin. They're All-American.
Right? They're not the same team without him.
But what I didn't like is Houston was the 1 in the South. See, I think if you're Florida, you want to stay clear of Houston and UConn and Texas Tech, not because
how much do you think it's possible for a rematch of the
well, that's the thing,
national championship?
Houston would be foaming at the mouth to play Florida,
and they're a better offensive team than they were last year.
UConn got a little bit of revenge already, but they'd love to see the Gators again in the tournament. And even though Texas Tech is injured, Texas Tech knows they let that one get away last year. I think if you're the Gators, you want to stay clear of those teams that you beat a year ago. Texas
Tech is wishing they were able to keep a kid that transferred over to NC State, Davion Williams, the kid that ended up missing the free throws.
Yes,
and Florida could not stop him last year in that game. Gosh, what a tough break! But UConn just stubbed their toe. They lost to Creighton. Creighton's hasn't been very good this year. Florida's in these matchups, they do matter. They do matter. And we have 5 games left. North Carolina, I see is matched up in that bracket. They've had injury problems. They're a very talented team. Just injuries have taken away from them. And for any team, when injuries come into play, it can change the dynamic in college basketball and college sports.
North Carolina was interesting because they beat Duke at the buzzer.
Dude.
And then they've lost 2 in a row to Miami and NC State.
Caleb Wilson got hurt in the Miami game. Miami's a good team.
Yeah.
Miami is, I think, 19-6, which is, that's pretty solid for a first-year head coach, Jay Lucas.
They count as a quad 1 victory for Florida. They're in the quad 1.
Absolutely. Lost my train of thought there.
Well, Florida's 8-5 in quad 1 games, so that's going to help them with the committee
for sure.
Let's talk about Ole Miss in a moment. But first, Patrick, let's talk about what might have been the game of the year.
Oh yeah,
Southeastern
absolutely,
Conference.
Man. Gosh,
and it actually helped Florida because Arkansas, with the loss, is now 2 games back.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama 2 games back. First and foremost, a regular season conference championship. You live that life in Gainesville.
Got 3 of them.
Does that matter? Do you say, hey, man, we're regular season conference champions, or is it all about the conference tourney and then obviously the NCAA tournament?
Well, obviously the tournament is different because you get a trophy and it's kind of a whole spectacle. Like all the teams are in one spot. I think the regular season championship means more because from the standpoint of the smaller schools like Jacksonville, like JU, like a UNF, like those 1-bid leagues. It's a grind to come away with that regular season title, but it really means nothing for them. It means nothing.
I think, don't they put you in the NIT now, at least if you win the regular? I think the least you get to go in the NIT.
They should at least put you somewhere there, but you have to win your conference tournament. It means a lot more for those teams like I'm trying to think. Texas A&M a few years ago, 3 years ago, when Buzz Williams was still there, they were sputtering. They were not having. They lost 8 games in a row. They go on a run, and they make it all the way to the championship game against Tennessee. They needed to win that game because the committee did not put them into the field. That was a Dalton Connect Tennessee team. It was very special. So it does mean something for some people. I'm glad that we were able to win one of those. It's cool you get to cut nets down, get a shirt, whatnot, but. It's not that big of a deal because you just hate to lose all the energy focused on that when it's really about what's happening the next weekend.
And, of course, you'll be the 1 seed in the conference tournament, which theoretically would give you the easiest path
to
win.
Yep.
So back to Alabama, Arkansas. The Arkansas loss helped Florida because now Florida's 2 games clear of both Alabama and Arkansas. But what a game.
Oh, man.
And I've heard you talk about this cat, Acuff from Arkansas. My man went for 49 in the loss on Wednesday. He's a freshman. He's unbelievable.
And I wasn't even like that sold on him at first. And it wasn't for any particular reason. It's just like I didn't know too much about him. And I'm like, yeah, just another scoring guard, nothing special, blah, blah, blah. Then you go and see him.
Oh.
And he's so poised.
Yeah.
He has such great body control. He knows himself well. He could have, I could see him averaging a few more assists. He could, but he has such a great ability to get into his shot. And, Alabama and Arkansas, both of those teams are not great defensively. Alabama is 351 out of 361 Division I teams in defensive efficiency.
Oh, geez.
So Arkansas is probably not too far off. So part of the reason you have 117 to 115 game and allow someone to go for 49 and LeBaron Ballon went for 35 on the other side. Don't forget about that.
He was the afterthought.
He was the afterthought.
35. Yeah.
But what hurt Arkansas? They don't have the depth. You go if you we're watching the game. Arkansas they are 7 guys. They are a 7-man rotation, and as soon as DJ Wagner, Billy Richmond, Nick Pringle, and somebody else, as soon as those guys fouled out, Coach Cal has to put in guys, not guys that haven't played the whole game,
right?
Guys that have not played the whole season. Get plugged in.
The guy that missed the dunk that could have tied it and gone to triple overtime, he had played like 15 minutes all year.
He hadn't played a lot. Ewan, but Ewan there were 3 opportunities Ewan had, not just that to help the game, but both of the made threes in double overtime were on plays that those guys that just got plugged into the game get in. So Alabama did a great job exposing that. But what a game, man. I mean, it was haymaker after haymaker. Billy Richmond. I was telling Pat Bradley that Billy Richmond, the kid, sophomore at Arkansas, I said, watch for him next year.
Yeah.
He's going to make the biggest jump with his athleticism, his effort and energy, like the skill, I think is going to come. I said, watch for that kid. He's going to be someone he's going to be first team all SEC next year, without a doubt.
We'll obviously get to Florida and Ole Miss in one moment. You mentioned something there that I talked about on Hacker After Dark. 40-minute game, you get 5 fouls. And I know college basketball is probably never going to change this. But when you go to double overtime, and if you have 4 guys,
can you not give them 1 foul?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I agree.
If you're into overtime or certainly double overtime, can you not put guys with 5 fouls back in and give them 1 additional foul to play in overtime?
I think that's fair.
I don't know why they've never even contemplated that.
Because especially, I would look at it like this way. Going to the double overtime too, in that sense. If like the first overtime, no, but a double overtime, that's 10 minutes.
Right.
That's 1/4 of the game. Can we not give that 1 foul back to those players to come back in? Because I don't know. It's just when it comes to the depth of that game, I just hate for that to be the reason. That's why part of the reason why Arkansas loses that game. They put in guys that had not played the entire season. And I mean, that's tough, man. I've never been in that situation. You don't play all season, and all of a sudden at a big time game, one of the games of the year, all right, I need you to go in, PY. Yeah. Hope you stay fresh.
Right.
Or I hope you're warmed up.
I remember your team that went to the Final Four, and you guys were so good, and Gator teams of the past were 8, 9, 10 deep. I mean, they were deep teams. What does it say about college basketball that arguably the 2 best teams in the conference, Arkansas and Florida, Arkansas only plays 7 guys. Yeah. Florida only plays 8 guys. The days of playing 10 and 11 guys, a lot of teams don't do that anymore.
Well, I think it helps when you look at Florida that has such their depths in the front court, right, with their 4 guys. Someone can get in foul trouble, and if you have to, you can put Thomas Houck down to the 4 position. He can stay 3. Isaiah Brown has been great, man. He had to work his butt off to get those minutes. Coach was pulled him so quick, and for him to keep his attitude in the right place, was really impressive because there's times where he'd get 4 minutes, get his one opportunity. But now he comes in and he looks like he hasn't missed a beat. It speaks volumes. Coaches found guys, Klavchar, Handlogged, and Brown, that they know exactly what they're being asked to do. Handlogged had 5 points, 9 rebounds in 15 minutes last game.
He's getting better.
They need him. They need him. He is the one guy in the front court that I just kind of like, man, dude, you could have, you don't have a hook shot, could he have gotten a little bit more skilled? But for what they need him to do, he does it very well. He was hurting the team early on because he was always a step late, man, whether it's getting fouls or missing rebound opportunities. But now he seems to be in a groove.
Last thought before the Gators and Ole Miss, give us 60 seconds. Mike White in Georgia, go into Rupp Arena and beat Kentucky. Were you surprised by that?
I was surprised by, not that they fought. If you look at some of the last 5 minutes of that game, Georgia knocked down some big time shots, man. I mean, I think the small guy Smurf Millender hit a 3 from the logo practically, and Georgia's best player Wilkinson, he's been out for the last 3 or 4 games with a shoulder injury. But yeah, I mean, was surprised to see that Kentucky could not figure out how to, because the game was close, and then Georgia goes up by 9, and after that point, it was over. And I just remember seeing, I think it was the last stop. 10 seconds left, Georgia's up by like 6 or 7, and it's like, dang, they really came in there and just upset Kentucky. Like, what a matchup! Yeah, happy for Mike White. I'm glad he got his 1 win against Florida.
The natives in Lexington aren't going to like that.
No,
they're 8-5 in the conference. They've lost to Florida and Georgia in consecutive games. We'll see what happens. That brings us to tomorrow. Kind of a weird game, noon Eastern, 11 Central in Oxford. It's an early morning game between Florida and Ole Miss. Ole Miss played somebody tough this week. Was it Texas A&M? They only lost by 3.
Yeah, it was A&M. I was trying to remember who it was. Yep.
So it was a decent game, but Ole Miss, you look at their overall body of work, they just don't have a very good record.
They don't have a good roster.
Do they give Florida any issues tomorrow?
They don't have a good roster. Well, the Ole Miss possibly could have won that game, but Malik Dia, he was having the best game he had of the season. He sprained his ankle pretty good, and he was out of the game in the second half practically. Okay. Texas A&M, man, like, gosh, what a roller coaster they've been on. They were down pretty big time in that game, able to claw their way back. Rashawn Agee, he's 25 years old, and they call him Unk. He's able to find his flow, and it was Pop Isaacs, their point guard, and Rylan Griffin, who was an Alabama transfer. They didn't play well, and it was the smallest guy on the floor for Texas A&M. It was Marcus Hill, the point guard, that kept them in the game in the first half. That I think, like, it's something about the small guy that comes in and does what no one expects him to do. Like, he's in there grabbing rebounds, finishing at the rim, getting steals, and it inspired that team going into the second half. But, Ole Miss, it's an 11 a.m. tip. It's an early game. Both these teams can't come into it thinking other than we need to step up from the beginning, because I can see it getting real ugly for Ole Miss early. And then I can also see it not getting ugly for Florida, but kind of like, all right, guys, let's wake up. All right, come on. Let's
being lethargic.
Kind of having that feeling like, all right, guys, it's 10-10 after the first 10 minutes. Like, all right, let's get the offense going. Let's get on the boards.
I was going to ask you about that. 11 a.m. local time in Oxford. Odds are the arena will be, 60, 70% full. There'll be some empty seats.
40% maybe.
How hard is it to get up as an athlete to do that in a venue like that?
Dude, I won't call out specific teams, but, we before we pass on to certain teams at their home games, it's been pretty awful to see how lackluster the support is for the teams. Yeah. It is pretty
in the SEC.
In the SEC, yeah. Like, there's games where we're just like that. I'm like, that's not real. There's 2,000 people there. That's it, and it's tough, man. It's especially when things are going well on one side or weather's an aspect. That was a big aspect for Ole Miss. They weren't even able to go in and use their stadium for a minute, but It does. It is a factor. Having that 11 a.m. tip, it changes your routine a bit. It changes the way that you're able to go on your day. You don't get that pregame nap. You don't get it. Your pregame meal is going to be mostly breakfast foods. You're not getting lunch foods. But at the end of the day, none of that stuff matters, man. The court is the same length. The game is the same amount of time. You still got the same teammates, and more than anything, you still got the same name across that chest. So you come out there and you represent well.
So based on what you're saying, you think Florida has a relatively easy time of it tomorrow?
Should have easy time of it. Yeah, I hate to say it because you never want to say any game is easy, but we can look at this game. If Florida does not win this game by 15 or more, you again say like they brought their B game. They didn't bring their A game.
And the SEC didn't do Florida any favors. They got to go to Oxford. Then they're going to travel back home, only to turn right back around, even go further west to Texas.
Yeah.
That's tough, right? To do that.
Yeah, it's tough. Texas is they're playing good as of late. It was tough earlier in the season. I mean, they had only been home a few games. Like they've played way more games on the road than at home. But, Florida right now, I think it's preparing them for what's to come.
Yeah.
Preparing them for the tournament. Like after this last, actually, who do they have before Kentucky? We got Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Texas. So after that Texas game, which is on the road, that's it. No more home games. Like you're on the road for the rest of the season. You're in Nashville and then you're wherever else after.
No more home games in Gainesville. We got a couple of comments here as we wrap up. Tampa, right?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, I'll count it.
Now, when you guys were in the NCAA tournament, did you have a home court like that?
We had Orlando and we had Tampa. We had both. Orlando. We got it twice. Yeah.
So
man.
The support in Tampa has got to be unbelievable.
Oh my gosh, it was awesome.
So if the Gators can get to Tampa, and they probably will,
I'll be there.
Those are home games in the round of 64 and the round of 32.
Yeah, actually, I won't be there. I'll have to work.
Well,
dadgummit.
You're a hard-working man.
I don't want to work. I'd rather be at the game.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's got to be such an unbelievable advantage to have 70, 80% of the arena in orange and blue during the NCAA tournament.
Oh, it might be more than that. But, yeah, without a doubt, it's especially when a team like Florida goes up early, there's just such a hard team to come back on.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how do you find if you're not a great 3-point shooting team, that's your best bet. You're not getting it in the paint. You're not beating Florida in the paint. It's just not going to happen.
Thank you to Southeast Orthopedic Specialist for bringing you the inaugural Gator Bytes from the brand new
Orthopedic Specialist.
That's good. They probably like that. I can see a commercial in the near future. se-ortho.com, live from the brand new 1010XL podcast studio. Again, our boss, Steve Griffin, everybody that did this, from Trent to Jacob to Thomas, everybody that was involved. Richie, obviously, kudos to everybody. We'll be here every Friday in the brand new studio for the Gator Bytes podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. For Patrick Young, I'm the hacker Ryan Green. Enjoy Gator basketball tomorrow at noon. You'll hear it right here on 1010XL.